we're going to have Vicki from Avanade, Australia, what I would tell my 17-year-old self about a career in IT.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I'm Vicki Apostolopoulos with an incredibly long last name. So I'm here to talk about what I wish I knew when I was 17. So which is this one? I graduated high school in 2015. I got a Bachelor of Arts in Film and Theatre from Notre Dame graduated in 2021. And while studying there, I essentially realized that, hey, I like a lot of things. I like innovating and I like figuring things out, and I don't just want to be an actor. So essentially, what I want to cover here is what exactly my path from me in high school, being dead set on I'm going to be an actor and there's no plan B, to currently working at Avanade, who I'm here to represent, which is a consulting company that uses Microsoft technologies, and we offer solutions to a whole bunch of different companies around Australia and the world. So, before, these would have been my interests. So we've got my little Barbie Explorer CD-ROM, which is probably the first video game I ever played when I was 4. And that has been something that has stuck with me ever since. Along with that, as theatre, so we've got Waiting for Godot. I don't know if we've got any drama students here. Yeah, you get it. Yeah, cool. And also just an immense fascination in the world of virtual production. So Ex Machina was probably one of the first films that I remember watching where I was like, okay, wow, this sci-fi stuff is pretty cool. WALL-E, I think, was probably the first one. But then as we get to more of my adult, late teen years, this is where I started thinking that, hey, I could actually create something in this world that is similar to those interests. So being a sci-fi writer or a futurist, that was something that I was really excited about. So how did I go from this to this? I'm currently working in more of an innovation area where I do metaverse and cognitive services, which is AI, automation, all that stuff. 3D printing, not for my job, but I do that on the side sometimes, and I have done research in it. So my journey from A to B has been an interesting one, that's for sure. And I kind of figured, okay, what happened? What I figured was that I love learning. Now, when I was in high school, year 11 especially, I was like, one more year, and I don't have to learn anything ever again. I can just stop, and it's totally good. And then I went to uni, and I was happy because I was like, yep, cool, I'll finish this, I'll be an actor, perfect, done. That wasn't the case. The case was that I got there and I realized, hey, I really like directing. Directing's awesome. You get to essentially transfer your skills from acting into being able to tell another actor, hey, I really want you to bring out this emotion here. I really want the lighting to do this, to evoke this emotion in the audience. Being able to direct a space, especially on a theatre like this, was something that really inspired me to then think innovatively about what are the next steps here, because I kind of want to be ahead of the curve. I don't just want to be another theatre director or another film director, because that's already been done. That's been done by a whole bunch of people. I want to see what the next step is. So I started looking into virtual reality. And I thought, okay, well, that's going to be the natural progression into how we tell stories. You know, virtual reality is like the mixture of theatre and film, because you get that, you know, energy, feedback, I guess, from being present and immersed, but also it's through a completely digital realm. So because of that, I then got a job at a startup, and I was able to just innovate, research, learn. I had a film degree. I had no idea about programming or how to set up a network or anything in regards to that, but the one thing I did have was a passion to learn, which I honed from that time when I was in uni, and I realized, hey, shit, sorry, this is an ever-growing journey. It's not just, I'm gonna sit now in my little acting chair and that's it. Because that's the most exciting thing about life, is that it is a constant journey to just keep on learning. When you do it on your own rules, I think that's preferred. Sorry, I know you're in school, and that's just how it's gonna be for the next year or so. But after that, that's the journey of life, I think. So how did I get there? How did I get from then my startup job to where I am now? Essentially, I got to spend a few years while doing my degree in theatre and film, realizing how slowly that wasn't as useful as I thought it would be. But I did get a bachelor's degree, and so I think that's really useful to the next job that I got, which is at Avanade. And so working at Avanade sorry, I still work there, is like being able to be at the forefront in a corporate arena and be able to use all the things that I was researching at the time. So, how do I say this? I've essentially got a whole bunch of interests. I know that. I've always been very excited about learning, but specifically, especially while working at Avanade, as soon as I started. So I got the job by entering through this thing called a boot camp or an academy. And so because I have no degree in computer science or IT or anything like that, but I do have experience in knowing how to make a website and knowing how to do an application design and knowing about networks and user experience design and all that stuff. And now you don't have to have any of that experience to do the boot camp. You can just have an interest. And again, it's that thing of being open to learn. That's the most important part. So this boot camp managed to get in. It was amazing. And I'm here today with someone else who was part of the boot camp as well. And we both entered the company as just, all right, we're here to learn. We spent a month learning about how to be front-end developers, which I had some knowledge of. And again, it's quite easy because I was creative. And I was able to take that creative side of me and learn and hone in that logical side of me as well. So by doing that, I would say I was actually at a, what do you call it? An advantage, I suppose, because I was open to both sides. I wasn't just gonna write the code in HTML, because, yeah, we've got other things to do that now. Anyways, so after getting through the boot camp, I immediately got my foot in the door in terms of innovation, because remember my whole futurist thing. I realized that, hey, we're doing metaverse stuff here. I was doing metaverse stuff at my previous company as well, before Zuckerberg was like, yeah, let's call our company Meta. No. Metaverse was a thing way before then. And innovating and designing and figuring out what that world will look like was something that has been so close to my heart for a while. And so while now at Avanade, I've been able to create metaverse experiences and really speak about and innovate in that area, as well as cognitive services, ChatGPT, OpenAI stuff, which is all new and it's all kind of emerging tech, which is essentially, I just like to be right at the front of that, because that's at the cutting edge, whatever you call it. So essentially, these are all the pies that I have my finger in. And so because I love games, I can easily do VR because I love 3D. And all of that is done in a 3D environment, for the most part. Even our previous speaker was talking about Adobe Substance, a great friggin' software that we can use to design and detail and add materials and all innovate in what we can make our 3D worlds look like. And again, you can be creative or you can be technical, but it's best that you be both. And I think that we all have the ability to be both, because we are all creative beings, ultimately. So going back to the crappy Venn diagram I created, so these are all my pies. And automation and AI technically could be the same thing, also separate. I don't know, because some automation is not intelligent. It's just, I don't know. You could also argue that not all intelligence is intelligent. Anyways, so what do all of these have in common? And this is, I think, my proudest slide. The next one will be my proudest slide because I got to use word art, and that's all I really want to do for a presentation is just keep using word art like it's been primary school again. But essentially, all these things have in common is innovation. And so innovation is my passion. What was so similar to me back then in high school when I was your age was that I loved innovation. I loved futurism. I loved looking at what could be and what can be and what will happen in the next few years. And what can we create to make the world a better place? Or what can we create to just take current technology and make it better? Sometimes not for good. That's true. Then we bring in ethics and a whole bunch of other stuff. That's okay. That's for later. Let's just innovate first. So innovation is like, I could have been born however many years ago, let's say 400 or 500 years ago. Innovation, me physicalizing innovation in my career, or my job, my day-to-day life, would have looked completely different. But my through line of my career or my interest at the moment has been just tech, innovation. And you can innovate in all areas of your life. That's not, it doesn't have to be that you have to be a software developer or, an AI engineer or a 3D artist. You can be an architect and innovate. But a lot of the times, the way that innovation works at the moment in our 21st century, in this decade especially, is using technology, is using the tech boom in the 2000s. If you had a website, that's you innovating. Well done. Your company's now worth 3 times what it should be. But nowadays, we don't just need a website. We need, automation. We need, animation to just do some cool little, icons, or make it interactive or immersive or fun to look at. Going back to the architect example, if you want to be an architect, you can innovate in that area by being a digital architect. You can just make houses in 3D and don't even have to worry about the plumbing or whatever else. That's an actual job. People make a lot of money out of that. Although I'm here to talk about Avanade, so I should probably go back to that. But generally speaking, I really want to just inspire the fact that what you know right now, don't worry about it. Like, you will find your way. But do be aware of the things that you are interested in right now, because those things will come up later on in life, and you'll you'll be surprised as to what the through line of your life will look like in retrospect. Because I could never have imagined that I would be literally creating something like an ex machina robot, but a digital one. That's okay. We're not getting to physical robots yet, or at least I'm not. So, yeah, trying to think of what else I want to talk about in this innovation thing. But I do have a lot of takeaways that I want to cover. So, wait, do you have any questions? Let's open the floor up for yes. Sorry. So Avanade is the company that I work for, and it is owned by Accenture and Microsoft, and they do consulting for the government, for bank, finance, health, mining, a whole bunch of different sectors around the globe, but obviously Avanade Australia deals with Australia. And so we get contracted out to work for these different areas. And the beauty of it is that we can essentially work as an app developer, a front-end developer, metaverse consultant, back-end developer, database person, AI engineer, business analyst, whatever it is that you want to do or that you want to learn, and again, not learn, it's like that you are ready to be put into. It's a nice pool to enjoy. How do I say this? It's like I've been put on a project that before, in the past, that I don't really know as well, but I've been given all of the resources that I can to learn and physicalize and action that. So, yeah, Avanade's a really great place, essentially, just to both hone your skills, be able to deliver good products for the client and solutions, and also to learn and have the ability to have the, what's the right word for that? Get the pleasures of getting all the newest Microsoft software as well, because then you're on the cutting edge, and I think that's really cool. I hope that answers your question. Anyone else? Yes. I love that question. So the question was, how is ChatGPT and other AI changing our way that we deal with technology? Is that what you said? What's my opinion on that? Yeah, obviously. I can only offer my opinion at this point. So I think that I use ChatGPT as a researching tool. So if I need help to find out something and just get all the information in one go, and then edit that response and say, hey, tell me more about this exact thing that you just responded to. Also, you can help it to write your code in terms of like, hey, I need help designing, what should I do here? Although we're not really allowed to copy and paste that code, but it is a good research tool. So I'm opposed to copying and pasting the results of a ChatGPT thing, but I think it's a good place to start, because it will be like talking to a human being that is really good on that subject. And also, they are bringing in the back end of ChatGPT, all the OpenAI servers, into Microsoft, and it's essentially like a little assistant that we can use later on, but that's for later. But yeah, my opinion is that it's pretty good. Any other questions? Yes.
Where do you see the integration of VR technology from the point of view of the software community about gaming into mainstream sports?
Yeah, so bringing VR, how do I see VR being brought into mainstream and not just being a gaming thing? Give things to people. So metaverse is the way that will be brought into the mainstream, I think. It's kind of been funneled down from those who game, and now you see a lot, like I see a lot in my corporate world, where there are so many people who haven't gamed before, but now they're being given headsets on behalf of, going to a work meeting, and they have to learn. And slowly it's becoming more accessible to the workplace. And as that happens more, I mean, what's the word? Not retention, I forgot what it is. Anyways, a lot more people have VR headsets now than they used to about 5 years ago. And that's really amazing because it means that we're slowly creeping in more. And it's not just about games. It can be, like was mentioned in the previous presentation, it can be about like creating in VR as well. So you can create code, you can create art, you can create whatever it is you want. You can also learn languages, you can do a whole bunch of different stuff, and it isn't just, I'm gonna kill a whole bunch of robots, yeah, so yeah, I hope that answers the question. Okay, so now I just wanna go to takeaways before I go to more questions, sorry. So essentially, to figure out where you need to be, you have to know where you've been. And that goes back to the through line. Remember what you enjoy now as a teenager, what interests you, and that, as long as you follow your passions, that's my next slide, as long as you do that, you will essentially be able to constantly know what is right for you. Sorry, yes, kid with the tie and the blue. Oh, you guys sort it out. So, my advice to you, follow what sparks joy in you, constantly. Never do something that doesn't spark joy in you. And if it stops sparking joy, look into yourself and ask why that is. Maybe you've learned exactly what you need to learn already, and now you can move on to the next thing. Maybe, I don't know. It could be a whole number of things based on your context, so I'm not going to cover all the things. But follow what sparks joy in you, and let that passion drive you. So whatever it is, if you enjoy making custom games in Fortnite, say, or Roblox, say, you then have that built into you that you know how to deal with creating in a 3D environment. And suddenly, that is exactly what you need to be a video game designer. You're already thinking the same exact way that they are. And in some cases, you are more experienced than someone who is about to enter that who are older in their, more experienced in the technical industry, whatever. Because you've been doing it since you're a kid. You know, this is where, the bad guy comes out. This should be this many points because it was this hard to do, whatever it is. So, again, let that passion drive you. Allow it to grow and develop over time. So it's kind of like letting the pot boil constantly. If you liked games since you were a kid, keep liking games and you'll be a really good game developer. If you like history now, don't just say that now you're going to be a historian. Go learn the history. Go enjoy the history and see history happen in your day-to-day life. Always be open to learning. So again, that was me understanding that, okay, I really don't want to learn, but life is about learning. Let's just enjoy it instead. And that was a very exciting endeavor because I ended up expanding my mind more than I thought I ever would. I thought I'd just be a creative person my whole entire life, and that would be it. And now I get more joy out of being a technical, logical person. But knowing again that I'm not just a technical, logical person, I'm actually a dualistic whole person now because I'm actually honing in both these skills. So, and finally, there is nothing that you cannot be, do, or have. And that is more of a, knowing that you create your own reality. We are creators based on just who we are in this world. And you don't have to limit yourselves based on what you think you should do, what the prescribed journey or path of life or career should be, that you should reach these milestones by the end of your life, or by the time you're 30 or whatever. as soon as you get into the world, those things will crumble, and that's okay. It is truly okay. Like, the joy of life is actually from the learning and the new experiences that you thought you would never have. That's, I think, really exciting. Also, just really one, actually, okay, questions. I have a question for you. Does anyone know what solar punk is? Like, everyone knows cyberpunk, right? We know, but like, not the game, just like solar punk is a new, do you know what solar punk is?
Yeah, it's I'd say it's static or kind of ideology about working together with nature and technology in a way which allows plants and things to work together.
That's it. And that is something that I had no idea existed. And then, oh, we're up for time, aren't we? Yeah, okay. So I'll do one more question, and yes.
Would you ever create any program that you could test IRL stuff in VR, for example, hospitality or like anything?
Wait, say that again, sorry.
So would you create any program that you can test in real life things in the VR?
Do you mean like digital twins?
Could be.
So it's like, I want to test this controller in VR.
Yeah, to see if it works.
See if it works. I love this because I love doing, that's, digital twins, metaverse stuff is like, I want this to work in real life, in VR, or else it's not real. Like, it's not real VR in my perspective. So you can't, currently you just go down the same route that you would for virtual reality or games, and you just make the buttons press, and you'd write code that says, do this when this happens, but you can't make it in VR. That we don't have that capability at the moment, but soon, because innovators are working on it. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to my speech.